Both Ziba Mir-Hosseini and Tariq Ramadan are well-known figures in the European public debate. One of the most burning questions is undoubtedly the issue of Muslim women, and in particular, the status of women in Islamic law. Ziba Mir-Hosseini, of Iranian origin, is a British-trained social anthropologist and a specialist in Islamic law. She is the author of the widely read book, Islam and Gender, the Religious Debate in Contemporary Iran, where she argues that Islam and feminism are compatible, and where she states that, quote, gender roles and relations and women's rights are not fixed, not given, nor absolute, unquote. Thus, Ziba Mir-Hosseini is both a scholar, a feminist, and a Muslim activist. So we ask her, why are Muslim women a challenge to Europe? So to Tariq Ramadan. A French researcher recently wrote, Tariq Ramadan is perhaps the best-known Muslim in all of Europe. Tariq Ramadan, born and bred in Switzerland, is denounced by some as a radical Islamist and praised by others as a legitimate and democratic spokesman for European Islam and of French and English-speaking Muslim youth. Tariq Ramadan has led thousands of meetings throughout France and Europe since 1997. Around 50,000 cassettes of his recorded talks are sold every year. He is a prolific writer and has published a great number of essays and books. To be a European Muslim is among the most read. Ramadan is an eager proponent of Muslim citizen engagement, and his public speaking often focuses on the responsibility of Muslims in the West. So I give the floor to Tariq Ramadan.
Thank you. Thank you for this invitation and this introduction, and thank you for just what you said about the text. To tell you the truth, when I saw that, I was ready to cancel my participation, because I'm just fed up with all this business of controversial double talk and things. If people are not ready to listen, I have no time to waste to speak. Because at the end it's really this, and what the people are saying about I'm seen as a radical or seen as a, I don't care what I'm seen, I just want to be read and assessed on what is done and written, and that's it. And I think that if we are here within academia in one way, it should be a place where we are serious about what is said, and not just repeating what is said by some of the people. It's just too much now. So I just want to focus on the topic, because I think it's a really important one, around the situation of women and all this discussion around women in Islam. And as I'm always saying this, I want to start with this. It's not a woman business to speak about women in Islam, and feminism is not only women to be feminist in a way to argue that we have to struggle for women's rights within Islam and abroad. So from the beginning, I was involved for the last 25 years with women at the grassroots level to work for a better understanding of what Islam is all about, and why there is such discrepancies between our message, which is open for equality, and our practices that are just inconsistent with the message. And I think that it's really here that the starting point should be made. It's that there are problems, even though as a Muslim, as a believer, speaking from within, I don't think that it's because of Islam per se. While I acknowledge the fact that there are some verses and some prophetic traditions, if you read them literally, they are problematic. You cannot deny the fact that some texts are sensitive texts, that you have to put them into context and to understand them at different levels. You cannot deny that they are texts that could be read literally, and then this is where we have this internal debates with some of the current Islamic trends. So if it's not Islam, if once again it's not intrinsically connected to Islam, still this is happening in majority Islamic societies as well as Muslim communities in the West. So we have to take a stand on this and have a critical approach and a clear discourse. So this is what I will try by highlighting and maybe circumscribing first where lies the problem, and then, like the problems, because there are more than one, and then try to also bring to the fore some of the fields within which I think we have to work in priority. There is something that I want to say as the second point of my introduction, is that I'm quite convinced that there is something that should be done from within. To be heard and understood by Muslims, it's really important also to be rooted in the Islamic tradition. So this is why I'm writing not only to the Muslims, but everywhere. Always the first part of my books are always rooted in the Islamic tradition. I have a book coming which is called Radical Reform, Islamic Ethics and Liberation. I'm also tackling the issue of gender. But the first part, half of the book, is really the classical tradition, the roots, from where it comes, the evolution, history. And then the second part is case studies and being able to open it to the contemporary challenges in the world. But if we want to be heard by Muslims, it's important also for them to understand that we are talking from within. We are talking from within, but not only. And this is why some of my friends and colleagues and people working with me, activists at the grassroots level, are asking me, what do you mean by this? Does it mean that we are completely out of the picture, that we cannot just contribute? I think no, of course. It's a two-way process. From within, it's really important, but questions, challenges, and debates around this, as we have today, this is something which is quite important. But from outside, it's important not only to listen to the people you like. All the voices are important. Because at the end, it's always the same. We need a dialogue, and a dialogue is people having different views. We don't want an interactive monologue with people thinking what you think.